One of the words that comes to my mind is... Hey! Nice sound effect.
Meet Palle Bo, a digital nomad from Denmark on an epic journey around the world. At the age of 50, he made a bold decision. He sold everything, his house, his car, his furniture, and set out with a quest to visit every single country in the world, documenting everything along the way. This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
After a short 55-minute flight from Luang Prabang in Laos, we've landed in this hectic place. And if you've been here, you might be able to recognize where we are. Have a listen to this. This is what it sounds like almost 24/7. In fact, when we're in the apartment here in the old part of town, it looks like ants. There are so many scooters, and all of them drive with one finger on the horn, and they're using it all the time. We're now in Hanoi, Vietnam, and this is the Radio Vagabond podcast. But before we start, let me mention that this episode is sponsored by Hotels25.com. It's a website that helps you find the best prices on hotels, guest houses, and hostels around the world. Hotels25.com. It's best price guaranteed. And now let me see if I can cross this street. In case it's the first time you listen to this podcast, let me put you up to speed. My name is Palle Bo, and since July 2016, I've been traveling the world. And I plan to keep traveling at least 5 years. It's my goal to visit every UN nation in the world, and there are 193 of them. So it's going to take some time. I don't want to rush it and do it in 18 months. So it might take a little bit longer than the 5 years. I started out by visiting 11 countries in the eastern part of Europe, and then after a stopover in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, I went to Asia in October. In December, I was joined by my 20-year-old daughter, Clara, and she'll be traveling with me until the middle of April. After Thailand and Laos, we went to Hanoi in late January 2017. Hi. Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam and the country's second largest city with a population of 7.7 million people, 3.5 million in the urban districts. So we're in Hanoi and just started taking a walk here in the old town. And 5 minutes later, we've been conned.
I'm still in shock. I don't really know what happened.
Well, it started by someone trying to make us carry a stick with the bananas, baskets with the bananas in one side and some other fruits in the other, in order for us to take a photo and for her to get some money. And we said no. And then all of a sudden we were standing at a red light, and a guy was looking at my shoes and pulled out some glue and started gluing a piece of my shoe that was not in order. And I thought, oh, come on, do that. And then they did the same to you.
Yeah.
No, he took my shoes off.
Yeah, and then some other guys came over and did the same to me, and I thought, okay, no, they're gonna want money for this, and I don't have money, and it's fine. These are old shoes. So I tried to pull my foot down, literally, not just pull my foot, but he literally pulled up my foot and took off my shoes.
Yanked it off.
Yeah, literally yanked it off. And then started to fix it, clean it, and glue it together, and put something on the heels and stuff.
Yeah, he put heels on my shoes, and I didn't ask for that. And meanwhile, while he was doing that, a woman came with some pastry.
Yeah.
And it tastes good.
It tasted great. And then they just started to put something in a bag, and then they were just like 250.
Yeah, all of a sudden I was standing with a bag, and I thought 250. With the whole conversion thing.
Yeah.
So in my head, it was like $1 or something like that. but in fact it was like $10 for a small plastic bag, and I didn't realize
it either. Like I just pulled up my wallet, and I was just like, I guess. And then she just took out the money that she needed from my wallet, and then she was just like, then they were just gone. And then I tried to tell those guys that, like, I told you I don't want my shoes fixed. I cannot afford this. I don't have any money. And then they just kept on going. I was just like, no money. I have no money. Just kept going.
Yeah. And then my shoes are as nice as they've been for a long time. And I said, wait a minute. After I figured out how much I paid for the pastry, I thought, oh, are we getting ripped off here? And he said, no thanks. And he said around 900,000, which is almost $40.
That's crazy.
And what happened over with your guy?
Well, I just kept on going, no money. And then, like, they started pointing at the pastries I just bought, and I was like, I couldn't afford that either. I didn't buy that on purpose. But they just kept going, and then they started to wash it and stuff. And
And I told my guy, I said, no, wait a minute, how much? And then I said 900. No. I thought it was going to be.
What? No. My shoes are fine.
Okay.
My shoes are fine. That was another guy. There was literally another guy that just tried to come and fix my shoes. I just had them fixed. What the hell? What the actual hell?
No, and then the weirdest thing happened while I was negotiating with my guy, and he went from 900 to 700 to 500 and then 400. I said, no. You can have these money, and that was like nothing. And then all of a sudden, it says whoosh, and he disappeared.
It was so weird. They
both disappeared. And I thought, is there a police officer or anyone around here? I couldn't see anyone, but all of a sudden they vanished into thin air.
So weird.
Okay, so we lost some money on the pastry, but we got
I literally lost like a quarter of the money that I'd planned to use in Vietnam on the first day. Oh. A quarter of my money.
Daddy will pay. But seriously, we got our shoes fixed, and we got some pastry, and we paid $10 each. So
that's a lot of money when you don't have any money.
Yeah, but we had a good story.
That's true.
So lesson learned.
Yeah.
Be careful of con artists. Here in Hanoi, we're staying at an Airbnb, and one morning our host took us for breakfast in a noisy, very local restaurant.
But it's sometimes it's difficult what the menu is and what is this and what is that.
And it was a typical Vietnamese breakfast: beef noodles.
Can you use chopstick?
What?
Can you use chopstick?
Yeah.
After that, we sat down in a small cafe and ordered a cup of coffee. First of all, how do I pronounce your name? I've been so confused because it's an N-G-A-N.
Yes. My name is Jung Woo. Woo is my last name.
So Nhang?
Yes, Ngang. Ngang. Yes, because in Vietnamese we have an NG, so I think you guys don't have that pronunciation, so quite difficult, right? Yeah.
You just invited us to breakfast. We had beef noodles. Thank you very much. It was delicious.
Oh yes, thank you. It's my pleasure to invite you for a breakfast. Beef noodle is one of the most famous dish in Vietnam, and I would love to show you around, but maybe next time when I have more time.
You work so hard.
I love working, so I think I still can manage if I have more job, because I'm very happy to work around. Yeah.
So first of all, you and your husband, you have this entire building. You have a lot of Airbnb flats here. You have 2 shops, and you have a full-time and a part-time job and a baby.
Yes, it sounds quite a lot, but then I can tell that I'm quite busy at the first when I start running the business. But right now it's kind of routine, so I don't have to spend too much time like on the business at home, like running a flat here. So I still can have time to work some other jobs. Yeah.
Here's our coffee. Just a tip, if you order coffee in Vietnam, you'll get it cold. They prefer cold coffee, so if you don't say anything else, you'll get it cold. If you, like me, prefer hot coffee, make sure that you say that. Hanoi, if we should put some words on it, one of the words that comes to my mind is... Hey! Nice sound effect. One of the words that comes to my mind is the crazy traffic.
Yeah. Yes. I think.
Do you drive a scooter?
Yes, I did. I ride a scooter and I have a car. But crazy traffic is. I think everyone who came here for the first time also say like that. And we stay here. We also have to say it because it's really crazy when you are on the road. Most of people don't follow the law. So we don't need to walk across the pedestrian cross. We don't have to stop at the red light.
We crossed a very busy street right now. And normally when Clara and I were crossing the street, we stand up for a long time waiting for a nice place to go. You just walk out there.
Yeah. I think it's nicer if I show you to walk across the pedestrian, but it's not my habit and I forgot.
And the horns are going. Listen to it. And the horns all the time.
Here, some of the street they ban to make the horn sound, but people seem like don't care.
Yeah.
So we have to flow by the people, you know. And because the traffic is really crazy, so if you don't make the horn, I think like you have to stay at where you stay on the road for a few hours.
But it's so funny. It's a part of the culture because it was the same thing in the Philippines. They used the horn also in Manila and also some of the small cities. But in Thailand, not so much.
I think the tiny details come from the habit. Is what I'm thinking. Yeah. So people get used to it.
So when you visit Hanoi, what are some of the places that you must visit? Of course, the old quarter which we're in now.
When you come to Hanoi, please visit the old quarter and Hạ Long Bay, Chang An, Ninh Bình Cave. And
what was that?
Chang An. Chang An is very nice. It's similar to Hạ Long Bay, but it's really nice. But you should go there to Chang An. Please remember it, Chang An. And Sapa is the top of the mountain, and you can see a lot of different ethnic there. And I think it's most of the attractive destination that you can visit when you are in Hanoi. And especially when you are in Hanoi in the old quarter, come and stay with me. The 99 service apartment.
I will put a link on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's so close to everything. We're literally in the old quarter, and the lake is just 1 kilometer away. The lake, which is famous for a big part of the old quarter.
Yes, the lake is. They have a legend there. And we really love the lake, and most of people they will walk around the lake like in the morning for the fresh air, for relaxing before go to work.
And speaking about going to the lake early in the morning, that's exactly what we did the next morning.
It's very early in the morning. In fact, my alarm clock was set to 6 o'clock, and right now it's 6:30. We decided to go to the lake here in the old quarter, partly to see the sunrise and partly to watch Hanoi wake up. It is very early in Vietnam, and this is where we say,
Good morning, Vietnam!
Jung Woo spent 4 years in Singapore and 4 years in Florida, but she's originally from Hanoi.
Yes, I was born in Hanoi, and my family in Hanoi too. And I went to high school in Singapore when I was 15, and then after my IB program, international baccalaureate program. I went to the US for my university with the international business degrees, and I decided to come back here to have a job and make something different for my country, a small thing, but I hope that in the future my country will more develop.
I bet a lot of people who do what you did end up staying in one of these places, but you decided to come back?
Yes, because it's my story. My mom stayed by herself. My dad has passed away when I was 10, so my mom worked very hard to send me to overseas to study. So I'm really appreciate it.
I bet it was expensive to send you abroad.
Yes, but it's my mom love for me, I think. Yeah, so I really appreciate it, and I decided to come back here even I get a job offer in the US and in Singapore, but I want to spend more time with her because I was away when I was 16, 15. So it's really nice to come back here, and I know even working here is more difficult, and I cannot earn that money compared to the US or Singapore, but here I have a family.
I was curious about what it was like being from Hanoi and studying in the US, considering the ugly story of the northern part of Vietnam being at war with the US, even though it was years before Nhan was born.
Yes, I also learned a lot about the history in school, and when I was in the US, people also talk a lot about, you Vietnamese, blah, 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 but some of the young generation, they don't care about the war anymore, and they try to make things become better. But when, for example, when I went to the supermarket, the Vietnamese community, like the old generation, they look at the Vietnamese like me to go there to study quite strange. And for me, I was not in the war, but I feel it's really kind of hurt, because we didn't do anything wrong, and now we're looking for peace. So I hope that people like the old generation, they can recover the memory and think things better.
Yeah, the very old generation.
Yeah,
do they?
Old one.
Yeah, because I bet your mother was probably a young girl back then.
Yes.
So the very old generation, do they still have a grudge against America?
Yes, they did. When they look at us like a group of people to go there, they really, for example, a small thing, they're very friendly with my friend. They from some different countries, but when they ask me and I say I'm Vietnamese, and they have a look very different, see, and it's make me feel like, oh my God, what's going on? So.
There's a part of Hanoi where it's a big deal to eat the delicacy snake. We wanted to see that and maybe, just maybe, try it. So we got an Uber and was dropped off at a random corner in this part of town.
It was like a whole neighborhood. They said, oh, go to this neighborhood and you'll see a lot of very special restaurants. So we went there, and then we just started walking.
We couldn't find anything.
No, but we walked a lot of narrow streets and alleys, and we went into another place and had something to eat. It wasn't snake, but it was in the middle of the day, and I think there was some kind of company lunch going on, and they were getting drunk in there.
Yeah,
I think
they were yelling, and one guy fell asleep.
Yeah, that was the boss. Somebody told me that was the boss. He was sitting right across from us and just sleeping.
And then we went to Halong Bay. Halong Bay is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the 7 nature wonders of the world. It's in the northern part of Vietnam. It has an area of around 1,553 square kilometers, including almost 2,000 small islands, most of which are limestone. There are several large caves located within the islands, and the top of each island has a massive amount of trees. We've left Hanoi and spent 4 hours in a bus going all the way to the east coast of Halong Bay, and here we are on a small boat taking us hopefully to a bigger boat that is going to be the home for us for the next 24 hours. We're going on a cruise in the beautiful Halong Bay. We got on board the bigger boat and met our guides. And the one of them with the best English told us what was going to happen.
Okay, so first and welcome everybody get on tourist boat, take a tour for visit Halong Bay today. I see in program here today we will visit Halong Bay by this boat, and then tonight we will sleep on the boat here. Okay, so on the boat here
we were 14 people from England, Argentina, Chile, South Korea, Ireland, and Clara and me from Denmark. We got the keys to our cabin and then a nice lunch.
Pali.
The boat was old and it wasn't a 5-star luxury experience, but it was very nice. We all got a little cabin with a nice bed and a tiny bathroom. There was also a rooftop on the boat where we could enjoy the sun and a cold beer and the amazing scenery that was passing by us. Our first stop was visiting one of the bigger islands with some huge caves, and we learned to say "Oh wow" in Vietnamese.
The guide told us that when the Vietnamese say "Xing Xiong," it means "Oh wow." So he says that now we're entering another cave, which is even bigger, and it should be like "Oh wow." Shim Shuk?
And there was a lot of reasons to say Shim Shuk. One of the caves had a lot of limestone formation that looked like animals.
Maybe animal, maybe something. How about the idea? How about the opinion? For example, that one, you see, follow my idea, I think that one look like the elephant, right? Elephant. Elephant, right? You see the small or bigger, right? Elephant. You have imagine about that elephant here. Oh, imagine. Elephant, right? That one, right? That one. It look like chicken, right? Chicken. You see? Can you see chicken? You have to imagine, I think. It look like children, they think, right? That one. Tell me what animal there? Yeah, wolf, wolf. Yeah. Someone told me it look like wolf, right? He look up, ooh, right? Wolf.
We also went canoeing, got real close to monkeys, and hiked up to the top of one of the islands.
And we did karaoke.
And then we had a karaoke night on the boat.
Oh man, you were so good.
And you did some Spice Girls?
Yeah, wannabe, of course.
It was truly a very memorable part of our Asian journey so far. Halong Bay. Make sure that you put that on your bucket list, and you must go if you visit Vietnam.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe in iTunes or the podcast app on your smartphone. You can see pictures, watch videos, and read much more on theradiovagabond.com. Pale can be reached for interviews and public speaking gigs on mail at theradiovagabond.com.
Now we're off to our next stop, the small town of Hoi An, and then further down to Ho Chi Minh City. And we're so looking forward to that. My name is Pale Bo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.